Look, if 2020 taught us anything, it's that we'll never know when lockdown will hit and we may be stuck without being able to travel or going anywhere for a long period of time. That's why I feel it's super important for me to have as much of my life in the cloud as I possibly can, so it doesn't matter where I am physically in the world. As long as I have a Wi-Fi connection, I can access all my stuff. In this video, I'll be showing you my system for how I work remotely 100% of the time, all the apps and tools I'm using to accomplish this. I call this system the MAG system because we never know when the clouds of life will start pouring down rain on us. Hi there, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Maneetpaul Singh. On this channel, we explore all the ways we can use technology as a tool to live a more productive life. Whether it's so we can get more work done or just optimize our existing workflows, we'll be discussing all different ways we can do this. Now, a bit of a disclaimer before jumping into the video. I like using different apps and tools to accomplish different things. If one app will do something better than the other app, I will choose that app instead. That's just my personality. If you want to make this system more simple, you can simply just pick one ecosystem for all the different segments of the system. Just keep that in mind when going into this. Now, the first pillar of the MAG system is MAMA for media, and that is for photos and videos. Now, photos and videos are one of the most important things for all of us in our daily lives, and I think it's super important that the second I take a picture on my phone, it gets uploaded and backed up to the cloud. It's just one less thing to worry about, and once it's in the cloud, I can access those photos from all my devices and from any computer in the world. I use iCloud Photo Library to accomplish this because I have an iPhone, I use a Mac as well, but just as easily, I could also use Google Photos. It doesn't really matter which platform you use, just having a system that backs up your photos the second you take a picture or video is really important. Now again, the goal is to be able to work remotely 100% of the time, and with iCloud Photo Library, I can go to iCloud.com, log into my account, and see every single picture and video in my library. This feature does cost a few dollars a month, but I think it's totally worth it for the peace of mind. Now moving on to the next pillar of the MAG system, we have Essentials or Essentials. I hope that, no, okay. Essentials are basically your contacts, calendars, messages, and notes. All of those things I consider essentials. Now, even though I'm an Apple user, I actually have a healthy mix of apps being used from Google and Apple to cover my essentials. Starting with Calendar, Google Calendar just cannot be beat. It's the gold standard. Everyone I know uses it, and it just cannot be beat in terms of the user interface. The app is just so much nicer to use. I never really enjoyed using the Apple Calendar app. Now, the same actually goes for contacts as well. For the longest time, I had all my contacts backed up in iCloud, but I recently made the switch to Google Contacts, and that's for two reasons. One is I used to use Gmail, and I had everyone's email address in my Google Contacts, and just syncing them up with all the phone numbers made life a lot easier. But secondly, the Contacts app on the Google website just makes it so easy to clean up all your contacts, going through duplicates and just managing all the contacts that you have accumulated over the many years. It's just a much more robust and advanced website than the Apple Contacts through iCloud. Now, for all the Apple people out there, please don't hate me quite yet. Even though I'm using Google for my contacts and calendars, I still use Apple for my messages and notes. And those two things, I don't think I would ever be able to go to any other platform. Especially for messages, if you're an Apple user, you know how convenient it is to have your messages in iMessage on your computer, your iPad, your phone, just all be in sync. If I were an Android user, I would have to use WhatsApp to accomplish all of this. Having iMessage built in is just so much nicer. And then secondly, for notes, I love using the Notes app on my phone as a quick little scratch pad, especially on my computer as well, to quickly transfer text between the two devices. It's really, really easy. I also use the iCloud website. If I'm on a different computer somewhere else in the world, I can go to iCloud.com and see all my notes on the website as well. And a quick disclaimer again, I do use Notion and other apps like Drafts for note keeping, but those are very specific purposes. I still use the Notes app on my phone quite often too. Now, the last pillar of the MAG system is for Ghar, which translates to home, and I'm referring to the home folder on all of our computers. Now, many of us probably already have the media and essential stuff already backed up on our phones. It's something that doesn't require much configuration. It's really, really simple to back those up. Where things get a little more tricky and advanced is when it comes to the home folder on our computer, the documents and things like that. This is something that requires a little more effort, and you have to be much more intentional of how you're using it. Now, on macOS, we have something called the home folder, and back in the day, every single file that you would have would live somewhere in this home folder locally on your computer. things have changed quite a lot, but this home folder is still there and all the subfolders are still within there too. So firstly, we have the photos and movies folder. The photos folder is what contains our iCloud photo library, so we can completely scratch this one off. And the movies folder is only relevant if you make movies in iMovie or Final Cut or any other movie making app. And again, I'm going to cross this one off too, because all your final videos mostly end up in iCloud photo library. So those are two folders that we can scratch off right off the bat. But the next two folders I want to talk about in the home folder are desktop and downloads. Now for me personally, I don't like keeping anything in these two folders for longer than a week. Every Sunday I go through and I completely delete everything in both of these folders. I clear my desktop and I clear my downloads folder. But if you want to back up all of this stuff to the cloud and you're on a Mac, iCloud Drive will actually have a setting to back up both your downloads folder and your desktop folder, so you can access those files from anywhere in the world using iCloud. Again, that's a personal preference. If you use the downloads folder or desktop on your computer for important stuff, most definitely back it up to iCloud Drive just to be safe. Now, all that's left in our home folder at this point are music and documents. Let's talk about music very quickly. I keep all my music in Dropbox. And I do this very intentionally because all the music I listen to is usually Kirtan, and I'm not going to be finding Maneetpaul Singh tracks on Spotify, not yet at least. So I need to have an iTunes library or a music library backed up somewhere. I still use the music app on the Mac to play everything, but I keep all the library files, all the raw music files that iTunes will store. I keep that all in Dropbox, so they're all backed up and they're always accessible no matter where I am. Now I use Dropbox for my music library because I've had Dropbox for several years now. It's just too much of a pain to migrate off of that. My music library is way too big. If I had the choice though, I would definitely use Google Drive for music as well, just so I can have one less platform to deal with. Google Drive can definitely do the same thing I'm talking about. Now, speaking of Google Drive, I do use that for all my documents. Now, there is a documents folder in the home folder that we've been looking at so far. If you use iCloud Drive, this folder does make sense, but I prefer Google Drive. And that is because Google Drive supports Google Docs, and I don't think iCloud can compete with that quite yet. So essentially, I never put anything in this documents folder in my home folder on my Mac. I actually have the Google File Stream app installed, so I have a special Google Drive folder on my computer. It's built right into my Finder, and I keep all my documents in there instead of the home folder where everything else normally would live. Again, personal preference here. I could use iCloud Drive here because I'm a Mac user. It would just be so much easier to have all that stuff in one place, but I like Google Drive because Google Docs is so advanced. It makes life so much easier, and I would prefer that extra hassle of setting it up on my computer so I could use it more often. Okay, that was a lot of information. Let's do a quick recap of the MAIG system. We have media being backed up through iCloud Photo Library. All the photos and videos that we take are automatically backed up. All of our essentials like calendars, contacts, notes, and messages are being backed up and put in the cloud through Google and also iCloud through separate means there. And then lastly, we have CUD for home folder on our computer. We went through all the folders on our computer and made sure they're all being backed up one way or another, whether it's through iCloud Drive or Google Drive or Dropbox, whichever platform we're using. We're just making sure all of our data is not just being stored on the computer itself, they are all backed up and put on the cloud. If you found this video useful, definitely check out my other video on how I back up terabytes of media. That video will show you how to back up much larger files like YouTube projects, large videos or movies. Things like that require a little extra care. Check that video out if you're interested in that. I'll see you next time.